Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. Speaking of frauds.
This is brought to you by DraftKings. If you want to get into sports betting, you can click the link in the description right now. Bet $5, just $200 in free bets. Bam, there you go. Now you got $200 in free bets to bet on whatever you want. So if you've been hesitant to get into sports betting, this is probably the best opportunity for you to get $200 worth of free bets by just putting up $5. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Not valid in all states. Let's go! We had 9 sacks, ladies and gentlemen. 9 sacks for 58 yards in losses. 9 sacks. So I want to first give my flowers to the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. I tweeted this, and I meant it. The last time the Philadelphia Eagles had a defensive line consistently performing like this, they won the Super Bowl, damn it. The last time the Philadelphia Eagles had a defensive line performing like this, they won the Super Bowl. We start the game out, Fletcher Cox gets a big sack, crawls across the ground. Good to see Fletcher Cox getting back in his groove. You know what I mean? After what they said was a down year last year. I think not having Brandon Graham last year was a big part of Fletcher Cox having a down year. Javon Hargrave, the double kick. Josh Sweat got in there. But you know who we have to give our flowers to today? We have to give our flowers to Brandon Graham today. Brandon Graham, coming off of an Achilles injury. The man who is part of one of the most iconic photos in Philly sports history, the strip sack on Tom Brady. The Brandon Graham celebration, Tom Brady sitting at the 50-yard line with his head in his hands. Brandon Graham closed the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017. Tore his Achilles almost 2 calendar years ago. Didn't play last season at all. People thought he was going to retire. For him to rehab an Achilles with all that he's already accomplished in the NFL. This guy could sit back and be completely happy and satisfied with what he's done in his NFL career. He didn't have to try that. He didn't have to try to come back from an Achilles injury. He could have just retired. He didn't have to come back. For him to rehab that Achilles injury and fight and fight and fight still, just to be at a level where he felt like the Achilles was healthy. My mic is clipping, man. It's really pissing me off. Every time I open OBS lately, my sound settings reset. So if the mic was a little bit exceptionally loud right there, I apologize. Brandon Graham did not have to come back from that Achilles injury. He could have retired. Great career. He could have been content with that. But for him to rehab that Achilles injury and get to the point where that Achilles was healthy, and then get to the point where he felt like he was physically in shape enough to play football at an NFL level, is incredible. And then for him to come out this season, and in week 3, and he's been effective for the first 2 weeks of the season also, but against the Commanders, against his former quarterback, against a guy that he's probably friends with. I know Fletcher Cox, they hugged each other before the game, and then Cox had the first sack on him. But for Brandon Graham to come out here against his former quarterback and have 2.5 sacks is incredible. Because we weren't really talking about Brandon Graham that much leading up to this season. We were talking about Jordan Davis. We were talking about Fletcher Cox. We were talking about Javon Hargrave, Josh Sweat. We were talking about Hassan Reddick, the additions to the team. So maybe Brandon Graham felt like, hey, you guys are sleeping on me a little bit. I'm not hearing my name out here enough. I guess I got to show you that I still got it. And he still has it. 2.5 sacks in the game for Brandon Graham. A strip sack on Carson Wentz. A sack where he teamed up with Hassan Reddick. Which one am I missing? I'm missing another one. I think he got a sack on the 4th and 22, kind of where he just ran right around the offensive lineman. Yeah, got to give your flowers to Brandon Graham. got to give your flowers to Brandon Graham. Speaking of the defense, I also want to give flowers to Avonte Maddox. Huge stop. The Commanders had that one drive where they drove all the way down the field where our defense started to look like they were back on their heels a little bit, playing a little bit conservatively. We hold them to 4th and goal, and they go for it, and we stuff it. Now, I don't know why they weren't throwing the ball. What was it, a little shovel pass? I guess that counts as a throw. But they tried to sneak it in there. They tried to sneak a little shovel pass. Avonte Maddox read that shit perfectly and comes up big and makes a huge tackle, fourth down stop. Another guy who was kind of flying under the radar, when we sign guys like Bradbury and Gardner Johnson. And so, it's nice to see Avonte Maddox out there saying, hey, I wasn't just good last year because of the lack of talent around me. I'm actually here. I'm actually legit. I feel the same way about Marcus Epps. I was saying last year, is he really this good, or was there just a lack of talent to where he looked a lot better than he is? He's showed you in 2 or 3 games so far that he's legit too. Another guy we got to give flowers to. TJ Edwards, guys. TJ Edwards, we got to give flowers to. Another guy that I specifically was saying, is he that good? Or was it just lack of linebacker talent? TJ Edwards, watching Run It Back Philly in the offseason, said, I got you, DJ Eastwood. I'm going to show you how wrong you are. TJ Edwards has been all over the field. He reads coverages and running schemes, and he just reads the field so well. He seems to be in every single play. I thought I was going to see Kaiser, because Kaiser White has been amazing also. But if you asked me before the season started, what linebacker do you think you're going to see on your screen all the time? I just wouldn't have said TJ Edwards. I just thought he was going to be a little bit overshadowed by some of the other linebackers that we signed. I thought Nakobe Dean was going to be a big part of this defense. He hasn't gotten a chance yet. He's a rookie. We have 2 stud linebackers in Edwards and White right now, and Hassan Reddick on the outside. So, Nakobe Dean can sit back there, develop, learn the game, learn the NFL speed, things like that. But if you would have asked me, I wouldn't have said TJ Edwards. And TJ Edwards has been flat out phenomenal so far this season. Today, TJ Edwards, 9 solo tackles, 10 total tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hits. Flowers to TJ Edwards. Because I thought Howie Roseman went out and got some linebackers, but for somebody that was already here to be stepping up and showing us, hey, I'm elite too. Damn, we got a good core of linebackers right now. I haven't seen a core of linebackers like this since, shout out to Jonathan Himes, 2004.